I've been an avid hiker for years. But nothing could have prepared me for the terror I experienced on Dead Man's Trail. The trail was infamous for the numerous disappearances that had occurred there. But I didn't believe the stories. I thought they were just small town legends meant to scare people away. My friends and I decided to tackle the trail, eager to prove the naysayers wrong. As we set out early in the morning, the sun was shining, and the air was crisp. The trail began innocently enough, winding through a dense forest filled with the sounds of birds chirping and leaves rustling. But as we hiked deeper into the woods, the atmosphere began to shift. The trees seemed to close in around us, casting long, ominous shadows on the ground. I started to feel a creeping sense of dread, but I pushed it aside, attributing it to my vivid imagination. The trail was well marked, but we soon found ourselves at a fork in the path. The signpost was old and weathered, with faded letters that read, "Dead Man's Trail," in one direction and "Raven's Peak" in the other. We decided to follow the trail. And as we walked, the forest grew quieter. The birds stopped singing, and the only sound was the soft crunch of gravel beneath our feet. I began to feel like we were being watched, and the sensation sent shivers down my spine. We pressed on, determined to reach the end of the trail. But the feeling of being observed only intensified. I caught glimpses of movement out of the corner of my eye, but whenever I turned to look, there was no one there. The trees seemed to be shifting, their branches tangling together like skeletal fingers. My friends and I exchanged nervous glances, but we didn't say a word. We knew that if we acknowledged our fear, it would only grow. As the sun began to set, casting the forest in a golden glow, we stumbled upon an old, abandoned shack. It was hidden behind a thick veil of foliage, and it looked like it had been there for decades. The door was slightly ajar, and I felt an overwhelming urge to push it open. My friends hesitated, but I stepped forward, my heart racing with anticipation. Inside, the shack was musty and dark, the air thick with the scent of decay. I fumbled for my flashlight and turned it on, casting a weak beam of light around the room. The shack was small, with old camping gear and dusty provisions scattered about. But what caught my attention was the collection of photographs on the wall. They were old, faded pictures of people, all with one thing in common. They were all hikers who had gone missing on Dead Man's Trail. I felt a chill run down my spine as I realized that we were not alone on the trail. We were being watched, and we were being hunted. Suddenly, I heard a faint whispering in my ear. It was soft and raspy, and it seemed to be coming from all around me. The words were indistinguishable, but the malevolent intent was clear. I spun around, but my friends were frozen in terror, their eyes fixed on something behind me. I turned to see what they were looking at, and that's when I saw it. A figure, tall and imposing, standing in the doorway. Its face was twisted and grotesque, with eyes that glowed like embers. I tried to scream, but my voice was caught in my throat. The figure began to move towards us, its presence filling the room with an unspeakable horror. And then, everything went black. When I came to, I was lying on the forest floor, my head throbbing with pain. My friends were nowhere to be found, and the shack was gone. I stumbled back to civilization, but I was never the same. The experience on Dead Man's Trail left me with a deep-seated fear of the woods, and I never set foot on that trail again. But the worst part was the photograph. I found it in my backpack, tucked away in a pocket. It was a picture of me, taken on the trail, with the figure standing just behind me. I never showed it to anyone, but I knew that I had been marked. And I knew that one day, the figure would come for me again.